Chair of the full committee, Mr. Walberg.
I thank the chairman, and I thank the witnesses for being here. And Chairman, this is, and may I suggest to my good friend and colleague, the ranking member, that this is a hearing on school safety. I contend, as the witnesses have already today done so well, that if we did this right again, we would have less violence in schools. And as the last witness suggested about the youth facility that had former desirable athletes who were no longer desirable now in the youth facility, these are the type of things that will change the perspective of kids and what they do in life itself. And so this is a hearing on gun violence, etc., that goes on. Before I dive into my questions, I want to briefly mention a sports issue I've heard a lot about from constituents back home and some of my colleagues as well. Colleges are increasingly recruiting international student athletes, taking away important scholarship opportunities or participation opportunities from American-born kids. We need to make sure American kids have a fair shot at those opportunities. This may be something this committee will look at later, but today we're here to focus on youth sports. Mr. Ferry, I remember in the late 60s, or the late 50s and the 60s, excitedly waiting to see what color baseball cap I would get for the Little League program and what T-shirt, not jersey, T-shirt I would wear, whether to say Athletics or Cubs or White Sox or Orioles, not the dreaded Yankees, and what team I would be on. In Babe Ruth League, we did get uniforms that we could wear. But we still had the enjoyment of playing with our teams. And we also knew that practice sessions meant we would have time on that field, and we didn't have to fight for it like the rest of the week because kids were filling up the diamonds on the neighborhood and the parks. The league went from June through end of July. And then we waited for September and October for Pop Warner or CYO football leagues that went on, and they ended. That was life, and we all had a chance to participate and to fight to get on the station wagon of our coach, the tailgate, so we could drag our spikes on the way to McDonald's for a milkshake afterwards. That wouldn't be allowed today, I understand it. But that was youth sports, and it allowed all of us at a point in time, and most of us didn't go on to a college scholarship. We didn't go on to the pro leagues, but we had a wonderful experience. You mentioned that a family now spends over $1,000 on child's primary sport, up 46% since 2019. How has that cost increase hurt the affordable local programs that most American kids have typically depended upon?
Yeah, so what's happened, I appreciate the question. What's happened is we've had, when you were growing up, there were in-town recreation leagues, classmates playing with classmates, low cost, low barriers to entry. What we have seen is early forming travel teams, these tryout-based teams being created at earlier and earlier ages, all the way down to second grade or so. And once those are created, sport gets very expensive. Yeah. Goes from a couple $100 a year to several $1,000s a year. And when that happens, it peels away some kids, peels away coaches, reduces the number of kids in the local league. And by fifth grade or so, certainly the town that we raised our kids in Connecticut, the in-town rec league was gone. And you only had that travel team option going forward. And if you couldn't afford it, or if your family didn't have the 3 hours a day to travel kids and wash clothes and so forth, then you were kind of out.
And so now the kids filled their time with other things that were less productive, less enjoyable, and didn't prepare them for life. I'm going to jump over to Mr. O'Sullivan. In your testimony, you've written about many parents today who feel they have to chase expensive travel teams. How do you help those families see that that's not the case and encourage them to focus on the child's long-term development instead?
I think parents, what they need to do is begin at the end, right? What do you want out of sport? And I don't think anyone ever says, I want a child who's beat up, injured, burnt out, whatever. They want a healthy, functioning, high-character human being. And so that's what I say. Begin at the end and then sign up for sporting programs and find coaches and find leagues that support that mission. And that the goal, the purpose is to develop a great human being. And then maybe the goal, if you have the luck and the genetics, you do well and you get a scholarship. Maybe you play at the next level. But it's really about human development first. And I think just a lot of parents are scared. They're scared that if they don't sign up, if they don't leave the rec league, their kid's going to get left behind.
From your lips to parents and God's ears, thank you so much. I yield back.
Mr. Scott, the ranking member of the full committee.